This 1972 Alfa Romeo GTV 2000 is owned by Alfa Romeo specialist Chris Off, and has been for the past 14 years. He started with a really solid one that he found here in Alameda, California back in 2011, and has continued to improve it through the years. The only modifications in appearance are the omission of the rear bumper overriders and the backdated side marker lights from a 1969 Spider, which look more like the European counterparts of the time. Off added these during the repaint in 2012. From a transcribed Automobilissimo Storico document, we know this GTV was manufactured on August 22, 1972 in Alfa's Arras factory and sold to Alfa Romeo USA the next day. It was one of 1,164 destined for the US market that year. The original color was, and still is, AR516, Faggio, named for the foliage of Fagus sylvatica, a European beech tree. The interior was listed as natural leather tex. The early ownership history is largely unknown. It was active in Alfa Club events in the late 1980s, and when Chris found it, it had been parked in storage for 18 years, with faded paint, a couple of small dings, and a transmission with a bad fifth and reverse gear. The first thing he did was rebuild a gearbox from a Berlina and swap it in to get it on the road. Let's open it up and get right into the details on this GTV. The interior is largely stock and original. The aftermarket Momo Daytona steering wheel looks and feels right at home. And the adjustable headrests are fully functional. The original headliner shows no tears or sagging. However, there is a bit of discoloration, primarily on the driver's side edge. The dash cap was installed in September of 2012. High fidelity is adjusted with a Radio Shack graphic equalizer riding in the map pocket. Pulling back the carpets reveals more original body color. There's one small tear in the vinyl here on the transmission tunnel. And the package tray vinyl shows a little sun damage. The twin-cam engine is the heart of every 105 and 115 series Alfa Romeo. This one had 69,000 miles on it when Chris bought it in 2011. He rebuilt the motor in 2013, with machining and headwork done by Norman Racing in Berkeley, California. In 2014, he made adjustments to the speaker pump actuator and replaced the water pump and resealed the front of the motor in 2022. The battery was replaced in 2024, and the car is running the Morelli-Plex ignition. Glass. Overall, the glass and rubber are really good. There is a small lamination mark here in the upper right-hand corner, and a tiny one just above the stamp. The only defect on the rear window is a tiny chip here. And there's a faint scratch on the passenger side window. Check the auction gallery to see all of the glass stamps. Wheels and tires. These are real mini lights, running 185/70 R14 Michelin Green X Defender tires with 2013 date codes. When Chris had them refinished, he weighed them. They weighed in at 15.5 pounds. Moving on to the trunk, the paint on the inside of the lid looks to be original, as is the floor underneath the carpeted mat. For a relatively short period, Alfa put a slightly larger fuel tank in GTVs. It's slightly taller than the previous version, and this car falls into that range. Another area back here to look at are the outer corners. Damage repair often shows through on the back side. Here, there's no evidence of repair. Another Alfa inspection checklist item is the rear spare tire well. These often fall victim to rust. And the rear taillights are sealed, and the trunk rubber is nice. For those not plugged into the Northern California Alfa Romeo scene, for many years, Chris Off was with Rogers Auto Works, an Alfa specialist in Oakland, California, and then Patrick O's company, the vintage Ferrari specialist in Berkeley, California, before he went on his own with Off Enterprises, restoring and repairing Alfa Romeos in Berkeley. His extensive handwritten notes document literally everything he's done with the car, from service to mileage to where and when he's driven it, thoughts on the drive, how it performed, what it might need, and so on. It's obvious this is a very well preserved and maintained GTV, and to see more detail, underneath and up close, check out part 2 of the walk around video.